pleased to meet you. Well, by letter, anyway. I'm surprised we've never met, considering how small the art community is. But from your letter, it sounds like you may not have been as active as you would have liked to have been for a few years. Regardless, I'm very excited to tell you more about our work here. At a high level, the program is simple. We're a collective of artists who use our work for the betterment of our city. We host fundraiser galleries, donate our work to charity auctions, and teach art classes. We offer both paid and unpaid courses, and all proceeds from the paid courses go to local charities, usually the food bank. Our free courses are part of a pioneer program, and we've recently started, where we provide a safe place for victims of violence, members of our local AA chapter, and even parolees trying to get back on their feet. The program is still in its early stages, but we've been very pleased with the results. It's a very exciting time. Anyway, you'll find more details in the enclosed information packet. I'd love to talk to you about joining in person when you return to Larrington. Rachel Pittman, founder, Art for All. Okay, listen, the reason I hesitated there when I found out Linda wants Dan to give up a full-time job so that she can do a job which she receives no income from. That all the paid money goes to charities, which is great for the charities, it really is, but that's not gonna keep their family living. They need to survive with some form of income. So why should Dan give up his paid career? And then what, they're going to struggle for money all the time? It just doesn't make sense to me. Or she could do the unpaid program and actually get no money for anybody, except maybe help some criminals, AA people, and victims of violence, which, fair enough, but they need to make a living, right? And I really want Dan's book to be a success, and I think that the envelope's not just for Dan's book, right? The envelope will be for his acceptance letter. And I think that this is the right way for the family to go. I know it's sad for them to move, and I know Linda wants all this stuff, like this painting career. But they'll get used to having moved. They'll get used to it. Like one day it will be home and they'll just call it home. And it might not even take that long. Maybe they'll love it. And I think their marriage is strong enough now to survive the move. And Tommy can get back into schooling there. Maybe they'll even be a great tutor. And then there's Linda. I'm sure she'll find another place to do art. And if Dan has a full-time art career, Linda can do art for charities without having to worry about an income. And I really think I'm not stressed about this decision, and I don't know if I should be. I just think this whole story has been Dan's book. It's always, for me, been about Dan's book. And I mean, we've helped his family along the way because that's also what it's been about. But the book. So we're helping Dan today. And I don't know if that decision should have been harder, but this is what it's about. We're helping Dan today, and I'm okay with that. So let's have a look around. Of course, there is still the... Oh, is there not? Still the compromise? Did we just plan, whisper to Dan to finish the story? Did we just end the entire game like decisions? Is that it for us? It's like crock-pot pork chop. Crock-pot pork chop casserole or something. That's it. Crock-pot pork chop was the tongue twister on the menu that I couldn't remember earlier. Okay, so I think that's it then. Let's find Tommy's backpack, see if we can click on it. If Daddy helps me. I'm sorry, Tommy. I don't think Dan's gonna help you. We can't select his backpack. this is it. This is the end of the story. Everything we've done this entire game has led up to this very moment. There aren't even any letters anywhere from anyone else. Like, everyone who's lived here in the past, we're up to date with them. We're up to date with Dan and Tommy and Linda, and this is it. This is the moment that it all comes down to, and Linda can help more people, make the world a better place in their new home. Tommy can find a new tutor, and even Linda can help him because she likes helping people, apparently. So that's good. And Dan is going to have a career. I think we did good. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited to find out, I think. Dan agonized over the decision, but in the end he couldn't pass up the opportunity to take a professorship. A job with a steady paycheck that revolved around his craft gave him hope that writing could finally become his future, that he could devote his professional life to it and make all the dreams a reality. He signed and mailed the offer letter the next morning. That's exactly. While Linda understood why Dan had accepted the position at Hardesty, it did nothing to ease the disappointment over leaving Laurenton. Blairstown had no programs like Art for All, but she refused to give up on her painting, and she put on Successful Gallery in November. Her only regret was the feeling that she had to do it all on her own, that her husband didn't truly support her career. Tommy didn't handle the relocation well. His first year of school had been hard enough, but being a stranger on the first day of a new year, surrounded by children who already knew each other, was even harder. It took him months to adjust, and he never understood why they had to move and start over. Well, that's just spoiled. And that's how this Kaplan summer in the house on the cliff came to an end. It was much more than just a single season on the coast. Dan's choices would to come to define the rest of his life. His choices would come to define the rest of his life. Okay, let's see. Paul was floored when he got Dan's final draft. Grofield literally stopped the presses on other books to meet the demand for Dan's, and that November he won the National Book Award. His career took off, and after almost a dozen more novels, he retired as one of the most respected authors in American literature. He never forgot the summer he found his muse. By the end of the summer, Dan and Linda were in a happier place, and their relationship had grown solid. Dan had proven his commitment with his actions, and the lessons they learned that summer served them well. As they grew old, they looked back fondly at that summer, always seeing it as a time their love took root for good. Doing so good so far. Let's see, please, please. And by the end of the summer, Tommy was a much happier child. His self-confidence had grown, and when he went back to school, he emerged from his shell making new friends. His teacher encouraged his love of drawing, and by high school he had developed his style enough to earn a scholarship to art school. He became an accomplished comic book artist and had a loving family of his own. Could that have gone better? Dan would look back on that summer from time to time and wonder why he had made the choices he had. He never quite shook the feeling that the voice in his head had been more than just a voice, and in quiet moments he even imagined that he had been a character in someone else's novel. At times, he was almost sure of it. Wow. That's it. I think that's really sweet that he dedicated to his beautiful wife, Christine, Kent Hudson. Without her belief, support, and patience, this game would not exist. I think that... And look at this, he's like thanked all these people. I think that's amazing. I think that's great. With every rock and every step, with every fish and every well, without their honest and insightful feedback, this game would be incalculably worse. It's not bad. I enjoyed that. I think the story was good. Did our choices? So if we, it's very loud. If our choices had been different, would the ending have been different? I think so. But we did good. So that's good. Okay. I can't believe that we succeeded in helping every single member of the family, and they ended up having really great lives. I was doubtful there about Tommy for a minute, because it seemed like he was really unhappy with his whole moving situation, and it took like a year or months or like for him to be okay. But he had a great life, and he became a comic book artist. That's cool. I think, yeah, and Linda didn't get her art career, but she had an amazing marriage, and they grew old together and were so happy. And Dan, he had the career and book and everything he always dreamed of. My word, he became a writer, a successful writer, and that was because of us. And his whole family was amazing. I think this game was a nice story. It was nice to help the family out, and we made the right choices in the end. And wow, that's it. So I guess there's no other way to end this than to say, and they all lived happily ever after. The end.